Mike Pachelli here. By popular request, I'll be talking about the Beatles' recording of Dear Prudence that they did in August of 1968. The song was written by John Lennon when he was in India with the Beatles studying meditation with the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi Bear.
Hey, hey, boo-boo.
Thank you. And Lennon considered it one of his best songs. Fun facts to know and tell, his handwritten lyrics auctioned for $19,500 in 1987. About the song, John has said, "Dear Prudence is me, written in India, a song about Mia Farrow's sister, who seemed to go slightly barmy, meditating too long, and couldn't come out of the little hut that we were living in. We got her out of the house. She'd been locked in for 3 weeks and wouldn't come out, trying to reach God quicker than anybody else. If she'd been in the West, they would have put her away. That was the competition in Maharishi's camp. Who was going to get cosmic first? What I didn't know was I was already cosmic." The song features a clawhammer picking technique known as the Carter family picking style that was taught to John by Donovan, or Donovan's friend Gypsy Dave. And Lennon was apparently a fast learner, and he learned to do this style of picking in 2 days. He also used it on songs like Julia and Happiness is a Warm Gun. People stress over playing this, but you should know that there's actually 3 guitar parts put together to make the sound that you hear on the record. The droning thumb part, the low D, A to D, is played with a pick, not fingers, and the high E and B strings are played separately. You can tell by the distinct articulation of them both. So there's at least 3 guitar tracks bounced down to 1 to get the final guitar track that you hear on the record. And about the song, Paul has said, he learned to finger pick off Donovan or Gypsy Dave. I think John said it was Gypsy Dave, but the 2 of them were fairly inseparable and they both would have known it. And if they were both sitting down picking, then who is to know? It was a folk picking style, and John was the only one of the band who could ever do that properly. Once you can do it, it's really very handy. It's a useful style. On August 22nd, the Beatles are rehearsing back in the USSR, and Paul keeps telling Ringo how to play the drums. Ringo gets cheesed off and quits the band. We do know that Ringo returns back to the band on September 4th. So now the Beatles are at Trident Studios on August 28th, and they're working on Dear Prudence without Ringo. Trident had an 8-track recorder. At the time, EMI still had a 4-track, so the Beatles could piece the song together. And the original rhythm track had John and George on guitar and Paul playing drums. I think the song would have been better served if Ringo played, because Ringo was able to swing and play triplets, but Paul's playing is stiff and jerky. And as I said, John filled various tracks with his guitar parts and then bounced it down to 1 track to get the final sound we hear on Dear Prudence, and apparently it took him quite a few attempts. August 29th, they did overdubs. Paul did his bass, John played tambourine, and John also recorded his lead vocals, and he double-tracked his lead vocals. Then they did backing vocals and hand claps, and that was done by Paul George, Mal Evans, Jackie Lomax, and Paul's cousin, John. And then the next day, August 30th, George did the lower octave of his lead guitar part on the ending there. Paul did those piano parts, and apparently Paul played 1 flugelhorn note after the bridge around 2 minutes into the song. And then he overdubbed his 10-bar drum solo towards the end of the song. It was mixed at Trident Studios on October 5th, 1968, and released on the White Album November 25th, 1968. So that's the backstory. Let's get started. John Lennon is playing his Epiphone Casino for the most part on Dear Prudence, but we do know there's some overdubs, so I'm going to use my acoustic here, my Keras, because the neck is wider and it's a little easier to play. But do know that there's a lot of overdubs on the song. The low droning part is definitely picked, the part that goes. That's picked, and you could also hear the overdub of these high notes like So if you thought about an overdub on the beginning, you would have You understand. But we want to be able to play the part. So for the most part, you have to think of it like in a two-beat phrase. So you first play the fifth string and the first string together, and then you play the fourth string and the third, and you think one and a. So if I were to voice that first voicing, which is a D6, and play the first string and the fifth string, and then on the and I'm going to play the fourth string and the third string. So thinking in beat, you think 3, 4. Do that 50,000 times. You can also do it on the D chord if you prefer. And then you think about the second part, the second beat, which would be you play 2 En, but you play the sixth string, the second string, and the fourth string. So if I voice that D6, you play the sixth string, then you play the second string, and then the fourth string. 2 En. 1. It's a good way to think of it. And when you put it together, you get, right? And I think it's a good idea to play it like that and skip a beat so you can feel it, right? Like, maybe. So I'm skipping 2 beats actually. 3, 4. Feel that like that. And when you get comfy, you just repeat it. So at the intro, he goes through the chords of a D6 to a D suspended, add 9, to a D, to a C over D, to a G over D, to an A over D, to a C over D. And then he gets into the regular song, which is a D, D over C, and really G major 7th over B, and G major 7th over B flat. Right? And you know how it sounds like this. And then the verse starts. So he plays that 5 times during the verse. So 5 times the D to D over C, G major 7 over B, G major 7 over B flat. Play that 5 times. You can see why he did overdubs, because it's not that easy to get perfectly clean. 5 times, and then on the last 2 measures, he plays the D, and then the D over C. And when he plays a regular first position C chord, and he just doesn't bounce to the 6th string. Same pattern, but don't bounce to the 6th string. Just go to a G, and you just don't use the 6th string. So back to. And then right before the bridge, he does this thing with it, like the D to the G over D to the A over D to the G over D, which sounds like. Same picking pattern. Then he plays it twice when they sing. right? And then it changes, move my chart here, to an F over D, to an A flat over D, to a G over D, which is a measure of 2/4. So that part goes back to the regular picking. What changes is after verse 3, when he gets to the C, you know, you can tell it's an overdub because a pick happens, and he starts playing the same chords, but with a, you know, reckless abandon, sort of like and that happens 5 times. And then some just basic quarter notes on a D. To the G major 7 over B. Back to, which sounds like finger picking, gonna happen again. First, more chords. And then on the C, and back to finger picking. And the ending. Again, charts and tabs will make it clearer than I can play it or explain it, but that's everything you need to know to play just like John Lennon on Dear Prudence. In my guesstimation, George Harrison is playing his Gibson SG on Dear Prudence. It could be a Les Paul because Clapton had just given him a Les Paul that month, August of '68. But I'm betting dollars to donuts it's a Gibson SG. And as I said earlier, there's a lot of overdubs and double tracking on this part. Like for sure you can hear him on the bridge where he plays, you know, just open strings. You hear him go. That's quite evident. But I don't want to spend too much time on the overdubs. If you want to know them precisely, download the charts and tabs, and I wrote all the overdubs out. But I want to talk about his lead lines, which are extremely cool. Like on the bridge, he plays, first line he plays is this. He goes, 1. And then almost the exact second line, but he just throws that little extra 30-second note on the F to G, where he goes like. And I like how he slides from the A to the G to the C. I don't think I did it right the first time. I'll do it slow. 1. And then you're at on the 2/4 measure up. See, I think you hear like that. And then he continues almost like a sitar line, sitar phrasing, simple line. He kind of mutes the low strings, you know. But he goes, and then he plays it straight. So the first one is like on the and, 2/16 notes on the and of 2. So George Harrison, isn't it? And he does that 60,000 times until the chords are going to change. And when it changes, he plays this line. He goes, let's see. Very cool line. Let me do that one slow. When the chords are changing, he goes. finger line there, right? Yeah, last line. And then on the very end, he plays some lead lines. First he plays the high part, and then later on he doubled it as an octave lower. But the main line is, let's see. Does it 4 times. And then the ending bits are, let's see, it goes 1, 2. And that's what he plays there. And of course, an octave lower. You understand what octaves are. Again, charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com will make it so much clearer than I can say it or play it. But I have put it all together in a sound alike so you can see how the parts fit together. So please have a look at this.
Dear Prudence, won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, greet the brand new day. The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you, dear Prudence. Won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, open up your eyes. Dear Prudence,
Well, there you have it. The Beatles using multi-track recording to get the main guitar part to sound perfectly articulated, plus some great lead guitar work by George Harrison. If you'd like to know the parts precisely, download the charts and tabs at mikepachelli.com. And I appreciate your consideration in supporting my work that way. So have fun playing this great old song, because that's what playing the guitar should be all about. I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.